Okay, people, if we keeping it all the way 100, 1000 real about Black Clover 291, you cannot tell me at first glance when Magna and Zora showed up, besides the fact that we were all probably screaming like, yo, they're back, the boys is back, the dude is here. Like, yes, we were all very excited. However, once we overcame that notion, I'm sure logically a lot of us, and again, at the very least, I know I was like this, was like, okay, the boys is back, but they're back at a time where, like, fam, do you realize what we're up against right now? It's not like we're going up against, you know, one of the lackeys of, you know, Vonika's people or anything like that. We're going up against 100% out of this world, to the point that Noct is like, yo, we need to take them down type of people. When Magna and Zora show up against Dante, I'm just there like, yo, I'm so hyped to see them back. I can't believe it. The only glimpse of hope we had about, you know, Tabata remembering these people was at the end of the anime, seeing them in the forest and things like that, which huge shout outs to Tabata giving that insight to the animators, like, yo, they're doing something, they're in a forest doing something, just put that in there so whenever the anime does come back, because fam, the hype was real, the skepticism was there, but ultimately Tabata delivered. He delivered and then some. It was on some Kurapika, like, yo, Tabata must have had his Hunter x Hunter volume in one hand, and he was like, oh yes, Yoshihiro Tagashi sensei did it like this, and he was like, oh, I bet this is what we're gonna do in Magna, because yo, I genuinely was concerned, but by the end of the chapter, my concerns were put at ease with how it was handled, of Magna being able to do anything against these, you know, freaks of nature, so to speak, regarding the Dark Triad. And I'm glad we're back at the Dark Triad. A lot of good things to be grateful for with this chapter. Without further ado, people, it's time to talk some of that Black Clover greatness. So I just realized with this shirt, the reason why Kurapika is not there and in places Hisoka is because Kurapika was off training Magna. Let's do it.
No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done.
Okay, people, so Black Clover 291, it starts off immediately with showcasing yet again the defeat and ultimately the death of the fused devil of Nama and Lilith, and thankfully so. Like, again, that was a lengthy fight, not that I'm complaining, but yeah, like showcasing 100%, no, they are gone. Asta put them to rest for good, thankfully. And the beginning of the chapter, it felt as though like Tabata, he was giving us some good and insightful information, but it was kind of funny, and also diving into taking a deep breath for a moment, so to speak, because let's be honest, like, yo, it's been hectic. It's been hectic, and to get finally a moment of like, okay, we could relax just for a second, because then, you know, midway through the chapter is back at 10, but I was grateful for that. And also the comedy of like, you know, between Noct saying, oh, you haven't mastered it yet, but congrats, you idiot, and Asta saying to Noct like, yo, that's very Yami-esque of you, fam. Like, yo, you on your Yami vibes today? What's going on here? And it diving all back into, in a comedic way, but nevertheless all back into the whole idea of Noct saying, no, that's who I used to be, okay? Like, that's not me, fam. Don't even do that shit. And he's like comedically strangling Asta. Like, that whole bit, it was necessary because it's been heavy. It's been a heavy and loaded last, I don't even know, couple months of chapters. And then the insight that we get on that is Asta basically saying, yo, I cannot use my Devil Union form or Asta Black mode at that for 30 minutes, which I love that 30 minutes thing. Again, I've been saying about fusion, like, you could tell there's some inspiration somewhere there from Dragon Ball Z of them bringing up the whole 30 minutes, because I think it was, you get to stay in fusion for 30 minutes and then you gotta wait a minute in order to get back into it, or you had to wait, I forget exactly, but 30 minutes, I was like, okay, yeah, so I was on par with saying that the whole fusion and all that stuff that was going down was somewhat inspired by Dragon Ball Z. But Not quickly realizes, okay, yo, we got something big down, we got rid of these devils of the highest order, but we still got a threat to take care of, you know what I'm saying? The others ain't going to be able to last 30 minutes, but at the very least, you know, Asta's anti-magic will be effective, because you gotta think, like, again, against people like the Dark Triad, they're very effective, but if Asta hits them with his anti-magic sword, he'll be able to, you know, knock the shit out of them. They won't be able to, so Noct is kind of trying to piece things together. You could tell that he's grasping at straws on how to handle all of this. Like, he really was about to take the L against, you know, Nama and Lilith. So the fact that he's there right now trying to piece things together, you could tell that, yeah, he's just putting anything, he's throwing anything at the wall and hoping it sticks. And I'm still kind of puzzled as to why he continues to say like, yo, the Dark Triad are the biggest threat. Like, I get it the way he explained it, but I feel more so like Morris is, if anything, is the bigger threat, because Morris is what's right now, you know, extracting and making it so that these demons can cross over. Like, if anything, let's quickly nab Morris. He shouldn't be that strong, right? Let's go get rid of Morris, or you go to Dante and them, you go to the Dark Triad, I'll go to Morris. Something there, because Morris is very, very right now of an issue. But nevertheless, we cut back to the fight of Jack versus Dante, which has been a bit, I'll be honest with you, like, this chapter, you could argue in a very good way, felt fan servicey. And what I mean by that is like, yo, it's been a bit since we've seen this fight with the Dark Triad, of any of them for that matter, but let alone, you know, seeing Dante versus Jack. Like, I'm happy. Like, yo, I was really enjoying the Asta versus the Fused Devils battle, all of that jazz, cool beans, but yeah, I really have been invested in the Dark Triad. So to return to the Dark Triad, to return to Jack versus Dante, I was excited about that. And also just kind of seeing like Jack, even though he's giving it his all, a 100% Dante is just completely out of his league. Like, Jack is a formidable opponent, so he's, you know, trying his best and he's hitting him here and there. But you can see even when the beginning of, you know, returning to that fight, he slashes him in his face and it's kind of like not doing anything at this point. So Jack is already damn near defeated, and Dante's like, he's just been having fun, because don't forget, one of the big motifs of pretty much the entirety of the Dark Triad is wanting some really good fights. So at the very least with Dante and Vonica, which, man, where's my Vonica? I've been dying to see Vonica. Like, they all went 100% and then went off screen. And then, shortly into it, Magna and Zora show up, and I think collectively the Black Clover fandom started screaming, yeah, the boys is back. But seeing them back again, the hype was real. I was very like, yes, finally. It's been a long time. We joked so many times about like, yo, they should be on the cover of a milk carton because they've been missing Tabata. What have you done? A long time ago, to be honest with you, at the very least for Magna, I thought he would have returned around the battle against like Vonica's people, like when we saw, I think it was Leopold and them. I thought that was when we were going to see Magna return. I didn't realize that Tabata has something way better in store for him, and I love the fact that it's kind of putting him above the people that he was trying to catch up. If you think about it, like, yeah, he was trying to catch up against Luck. It was clear that Luck, you know, outclassed him. He came up with something that is way more like, because getting to it, like, ultimately when it gets down to it, it does make sense. But we're going to get to that in a second, because the whole Magna thing, like, after the whole joyous occasion of like, oh my god, they're back, immediately it starts settling in, at the very least for me, of, okay, they're back, but they're back against foes that they shouldn't be back, quote unquote, against. Like, they shouldn't be facing Dante, 100% Dante. Like, it just shouldn't have happened. That's where my thought went right after celebrating, until it actually got explained to them, like, no, this is hype, this makes sense, this works. Because after they show up, I think it starts off with like Magna hitting Dante with a blast in the face or something like that. Dante's like, yo, peons like you shouldn't even be here, what are y'all doing? Even Jack disrespects him, like, yo, scram. Like, even if I'm about to die, y'all is pathetic, y'all are peons, y'all are peasants from Yami's group. Like, what are y'all doing here? Get out. So it was kind of like, damn, you know, we're celebrating, but even the person that they came to help was like, y'all losers, out of here. And then Dante goes on even further, like, yo, y'all powers are so weak, y'all can't even entertain me. Like, even, you know, y'all two against me, y'all won't do shit. And Magna's like, which I thought that was badass. And this is where the build-up was starting to get real hype of like, oh, no. It's not going to take both of us. I'm taking you on by myself, fam. Relax. And right there, I just fell out of my chair like, that's very gutsy, fam. What's going on here? Like, this could be very bad. This could be very fairy tale BS of like, what's going on here? Like, is he just going to punch Dante and that's the end? Like, how are we going to do this? How are we going to make sense of it? You got to trust Tabata sometimes. Because then we get the flashback of seeing Magna and Zora, and while they were training, and ultimately when Yami was captured, they really wanted to go help, which it's Tabata explaining why he hasn't had them in the story all this time. Like, no, even when things was going down, they were aware and they wanted to get involved, but they weren't ready. Like, Magna was like, you know, ready to go and help Yami. Zora was like, yo, that spell still not correct yet, still not finished, still not complete. Let's do it and then we'll be able to help. If not, we're just gonna get in the way and, you know, die. Like, well, what's the point of it? Let's get it right. And just getting into the whole thing, because again, remember, Magna, the last thing that we saw of him was him basically leaving because he couldn't compete with Luck and them. He didn't have enough mana to train at the Heart Kingdom. So when he's there, like, yo, I know I'm weak. Like, right now he's even saying, I know I'm weak, or I was weak, and I didn't want to return to them this way of like, I'm a weakling and shit like that. So it was building up. Like, he has that badass moment of saying, I'm gonna take you on by myself. Then he's diving into the whole thing of, you know, training backstory. Then we get into this moment of him saying, I know I was weak, I didn't come back to be weak. Because then following that, Dante's like, I'm not even gonna waste no magic on you, just do whatever you want and get out of here. Like, he's so frustrated of how weak Magna is. The disrespect levels is through the roof. Like, how are you mad? Like, you so weak, it pisses me off. Like, but following that, it gets epic because Magna busts Dante in the face with a blast, and Dante's still kind of like, big whoop. And then wham, Kurapika showed up. No, Magna basically uses a spell that drags out the devil transformation, a good chunk of it, because again, I'm going play by play of how it looked at first, and I'm just kind of there like, wait a minute, what just happened? What's going on here? Because we know of, you know, Magna being able to explosions. But what's going on here? What is this? What is he doing right now? Because he basically used Secret Flame Magic Soul Chain Deathmatch, and basically he put the chain on, and basically what this spell is essentially it combines Magna's magic with his opponent's magic, and then splits it up evenly. So if his opponent is like 10 times stronger, this kind of evens the playing field to essentially like, okay, we're equal now. Now it's just a matter of who got more hands, basically. That's how I interpret it at the very least. Like, if you're going to divvy up the mana between the two, let's just say we have a scale of 1 through 100, and Dante's power and mana is on 100, and Magna's is at like 8. You know what I'm saying? Splitting it up. Now it's just a matter of, okay, who got more hands? Who knows how to actually fight? And I love that. Again, it reminds me a little bit of Kurapika with the chains and shit like that. Totally different. It's not like, you know, stipulation and all this other shit, like, well, for now at the very least. And I was impressed because I really thought, like, when they showed up, my thought was, if Tabata is planning on having them being able to take this guy out, it's gonna be big bullshit. Like, I had very little hope of, like, how? Just how? The fact that it was creative like this entire time, Magna, which we've seen, he's been training, so it's not bullshit that he just pulled it out of nowhere. He's been training for, what, over 6 months to learn this. He came up with something incredible to be able to catch up to the elites. And he basically says, this is how I'll fight you elites. I am Magna of the Black Bulls, and I'm gonna crush you. And yo, I am impressed that Tabata pulled this off. Like, I just gotta keep on stressing it. I thought this was gonna suck. I thought that there's just no way somebody like Magna should be able to come and do anything against this dude. The fact that it was a technique like that made sense, that Magna's been working on for this long, kudos, bravo. He actually caught up and, in my opinion, might have surpassed Luck, because let's just say he hits Luck with that. Now it's a matter of, again, it's always going to come down to who got more hands, and I like that. And overall, Black Clover Chapter 291, it brought forth quite a few different things. For starters, we gotta go all the way back to the beginning. We know now that Asta has to wait 30 minutes before he can use Double Union, and before he could even go back into his black mode. So basically, Asta, he gotta work with what he was given before he could even jump back into that mode. We also find out, you know, the return of Magna and Zora, and Magna's new capability, his new technique. I'm curious what you guys think. I guess the biggest question I want to ask is, do you feel like what Magna did to Dante and how things is moving is BS? Do you feel like it made sense? How did you feel about that? How do you feel about the return of Magna and Zora in general, considering it's been so long? And if Magna's doing something like this, I can only imagine what Zora has perfected in all this time of training. And your overall thoughts and expectations for the Black Clover manga with chapter 292 and beyond. We're on break next week, so it'll be a couple weeks, but I can't wait for this shit to return. This is too good right now. That's all I have for this one, though. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Hit that bell here on YouTube to get all notifications. And if you want to follow any of my other social media, links are in the description below. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. And remember the golden rule: anime and manga for life. Bye. Have an awesome day. Peace in. And yo, the boys is back, baby. Let's go.
So just go to